Welcome to the Defence Property Podcast, the podcast where we talk about all things property investing and real estate for Australian Defence Force personnel. Whether you're looking to build and scale a property portfolio or relocating across Australia, we've got the insights and tips for less stress and more success. Let's dive in.
And welcome back to another episode of the Defence Property Podcast. I'll say this every episode, but I think there's a special reason for it today. We've got a really good guest on, pretty excited. And they say your ability to talk shit it makes a great podcast. So this is going to be a ripper episode.
Yep, I do talk shit.
I'd love to welcome Meaghan, or Chief Petty Officer of how many years?
21.
21, lovely. So
almost 21, yeah.
Meaghan, and I believe you're our first guest that's a current serving member. By the time this app recording, the time it goes live, you'll be separated?
I separated, transferred to CerCat 3, so reserves.
Yeah, nice.
On 21st of Feb.
21st of Feb,
Yeah.
so like...
Not long.
Yeah, by the time this comes out, you'll actually be out and first guest to fall on either side of recording date.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. So 21 years, Navy, obviously.
Yep.
Chief Petty Officer.
Yep.
Let's go back to the start. Like, talk us through joining. Like, young Meaghan, how old were you? What were you doing?
Meaghan was 17 in Hervey Bay.
Yep.
Had no idea what I wanted to do with my life after year 12. My parents always said you're going to uni or Defence Force.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mum, Dad. And my brother was 3 years in service before I joined. So he was in Marine Tech.
Yeah, a bit of a butt.
So I just loved the life that he was living and travelling and riding motorbikes and had all this money. So I kind of followed his footsteps. We're a police family background, so we both kind of wanted to go that way until Dad pushed us another way. But thank God for that. Joined as what we called stewards back then. We're now maritime logistics support operators, effectively hospitality and logistics. And I've done that role my whole career. And had discharged at about the 9-year mark.
Okay.
I had just done like back-to-back sea postings and had just had a gutful, and again, different time back then.
Yeah, definitely.
So had discharged and was going to go live over in London and live my best life like a few of my friends were doing. And then I met Levi on HPAS Success before I discharged. So fell in love. Instead of moving over there, I made him take long service leave. And so we travelled and backpacked Europe for 4 months. And then came back, worked at Medibank Health Solutions, but just still craved that, still kind of needed that defence.
That lifestyle.
Like I'd go home and say to Levi, what happened at work today? Who'd you see? What PT class did you take? So he was kind of like, you need to get back in and you're not finished yet. Yeah. So got back in within 3 weeks. It was super quick. Back to sea, of course. I kind of should have expected that. Yeah, we've had most of our career in Sydney and then down the South Coast, and that was probably the last 5 years I've been out of category, so doing like staff officer for a captain and instructor roles. So
I'm just going to jump in and go all the way back to the start there because I had a bit of a holy fuck moment that born in Hervey Bay,
born in Sydney but grew up in Hervey Bay.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Just to clarify. And so Meaghan's a client of ours or a past client and a good friend. Our kids know each other and stuff. So we've watched a few State of Origins in the past and hearing
that was your holy shit moment. Yeah.
What so she's the die-hard Blues fan and the Jury household is a die-hard Queensland. So we've had some really good State of Origin nights and stuff. And
quiet ones,
Yeah, I'm thinking, you traitor.
It's so funny because growing up, my brother and I were both born in Sydney because we had cop parents they were moving around quite a bit. And so we got to Hervey Bay. I think I was year 4. And we were the kids that were going to a Queensland school going for the Blues. And so, of course, we got teased, the whole, because you'd wear your jerseys to school on State of Origin and stuff. And then so both our boys are born in New South Wales and now we live here. We're like, you're going to get fucking bullied your whole school career, but just stick to your guns. So now they're living the life that I had to do,
I remember, I grew up in South Australia and I was a soccer player, but, South Australia was predominantly AFL was the big sport. And then joined in defence. I went to Albury-Wodonga as a Ramey for Army TAFE and was there for 2 years. And I remember having food fights and brawls on State of Origin night between the Queenslanders and Blues.
It's so aggressive.
What the... Is this like
what
State
is going
of Origin?
on?
Yeah,
I know. But now we do it right now. Kids do it. Our boys were wild on State of Origin last year.
And so it's quite, now I've married in Queensland, lived in Queensland more than I did South Australia. So I consider myself a, Queenslander when it comes to state of origin. But
yeah, no, I won't ever call myself a Queenslander.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry, mate.
Cool. So you joined defence. So Levi, your husband now, how long was he in?
21.
21 years.
Yeah, so PTI.
Okay. Yeah. And what did he do before PTI?
He was CSO, so combat systems operator. So the ones that are in the red rooms doing the radars and stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Which is so weird because I could never imagine him doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously why he transferred because being stuck in a red room, imagine Levi. Yeah, but unfortunately he was medically discharged. He would have been the lifer. He would have absolutely been the next Fleet Woe PDI and I probably would have got out.
Yeah.
But that's unfortunate.
How many years was he PDI versus?
I think he was CSO for 4 years before he transferred to PDI.
So pretty early, just went straight over and that. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, I know him well and I can see that, Yeah. Nice. And so talk us through just because I'm obviously Army and, my career's taken me through these conversations with many Roughy and Navy as well as Army. But my knowledge isn't quite up there as it is with all my Army units and corps and stuff. Many, depending on your role in the Navy, you can spend your whole career in one locality, can't you?
Pretty much, yeah. So for me being a steward, I can go on small boats, submarines and our major fleet units.
Yeah.
So I was in Sydney my whole career.
Yeah. But you've got potential to post around a lot more?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Whereas submariners can potentially just stay
in the same. Yeah. So if you're a submariner, you'll be in Western Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're, I guess lucky for the guys that are from Darwin or Cairns, you can spend most of your career up there on a small boat because all different platforms have different training.
Yeah.
But for me as steward hospitality, I can kind of go anywhere.
Yeah, cool.
Which worked out well for me because I always wanted to be in Sydney anyway. So there's a couple of bases that you could go from and then you kind of do a sea posting back to a base for supposed to.
And the main bases are pretty much Garden Island in the Cross or Sydney City and then Nowra.
So Nowra is, we've got HMAS Albatross, which is where Levi and I were, which is your airfield or your aviation. And then close to that is HMAS Creswell, Jarvis Bay, which is where the officers do their training for Navy. You've got Cairns, Darwin, HMAS Cerberus in Victoria, which is our training, recruit school. Now got Encounter in South Australia.
Yeah, okay.
WA.
Yeah.
Headquarters in Tassie.
And your career allowed you to post at any of these localities, but predominantly had Sydney postings?
Yeah, I always wanted to stay Sydney. Yeah. So if you were from Perth, you can put in there kind of application, I guess, that you wanted to go back to Perth. And they generally try and do that for you.
Yeah.
With Levi, though, being a PTI, and he was lucky that he got to do most of his career in Sydney. When he first started, he was down in Melbourne. That was before we met. And it kind of got to the point, I don't know if you guys do member statements for promotions. I think I might have just brought that out, but we do, when you get to the petty officer rank, you do a member statement every year and you've kind of got to sell yourself.
Yeah, okay.
And that goes to a board in Canberra and they look at your reporting period and your postings and that kind of stuff, but they go off this member statement where you're just spruiking yourself in a CV as to why you should be promoted. So Levi had never put one of those in because he didn't want to be a chief because he would have had to have gone back to Melbourne. And I was like, we're not going back there. But again, he was lucky that he could go to the bases and he was always happy to go to sea. So it worked out really well for us that we got to stay there.
Yeah.
And then we finally got the posting to Albatross because he's from Kiama down the south coast. So he wanted to be back with his family. And I have family in Nowra as well. And then as soon as we got down there was when he had the surgeries and then the med discharge. So unfortunate, but we finally got out of Sydney and then it didn't work out well. But
yeah, Queenslander now. Cool. So before your current posting, you were most recently recruiting in Robina there. You were in Nowra.
Yep.
How long did you live in Nowra for?
We were there for 4 years.
Yeah, okay.
4 years.
And prior to that, it was predominantly
Sydney.
Sydney.
Yeah. So we were always when we first met, you obviously go into rental assistance.
Yeah.
And then we went into, what's one they do after that? When you generally get married. Married quarter, which we're in Ryde. We just could never save enough to buy in Sydney. You obviously know Sydney prices, but as well, I think I don't have regrets in life. I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
But we often talk about we should have bought earlier and we should have. But we were also we travelled with our money.
Yeah.
And
which you'll never regret.
We'll never regret, right? When I met Levi, he didn't have a passport. He had never left on a plane, which was so not that I was a great traveller growing up because my parents didn't have a lot of money either, but that was shocking to me. So when I was getting out, when I'd got out and we went backpacking, he just got the bug. Yeah. And so I think we've been probably overseas almost every year besides that COVID period. Yep. But yeah, in hindsight, looking back, we probably should have invested earlier. So when we got to Nowra, we were in, again, Defence House when we first moved down there. And then I think it was around COVID, it was 2020, I think, when we bought our first house in Nowra.
It's funny sitting here, I probably was the opposite spectrum to you. I put so much emphasis on investing when I was younger. I don't know what gave me that or why I was that way, but now I look back and I probably, if anything, have regrets that I didn't travel enough.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting. But so you were living in rent assistance or married quarters, posted down to Nowra. And this is a very, I guess, common conversation I have with people about buying in Sydney or posted. And it most commonly comes up with the Navy people because they're in Garden Island, so they're living in the eastern suburbs.
And you're in the units rides, and stuff,
Whereas if you're in Holsworthy, there's the ability, if you're further out from Holsworthy, there's potentially a bit
of
more
land and stuff.
Like palatable price point from a medium where people could afford. But when you're working in the city, unless you're going to go 2 hours to and from work every day, it is very difficult to buy with such a high median price. And then so the most common strategy for defence people when buying their first property is, do we go buy something and live in it versus buy an investment?
Correct, yeah.
And, just to contextualise the two, buying a property to live in, you get HPAS, DOHAS, first home guarantee scheme and stamp duty concessions, and you can get in for a much lower barrier.
Yeah.
But you have to,
then you've got to live in it. Yeah.
Versus buying an investment property, you might need 70, 80, 90, 100 grand or whatever, a much higher price point in your deposit to get something, but you get to retain all those. And there's no right or wrong, but typically the Sydney people posted, are coming across the challenge that the barrier of entry is a lot higher regardless. Whereas,
for sure.
If they're in Darwin or Towns or
Cairns or something.
The median house price is a lot lower, so your deposit can be a lot smaller.
Yeah, we just had a friend, we were down in Sydney recently, and I joined the Navy with him, so I've known him for a while, and he just bought a unit in Sydney, in Botany, so pretty close to the airport, and I want to say it was like 800,000, one bed, like tiny fucking shoebox.
Yeah.
And he's always been in this RA, Meriton, 2-bedroom, look, and he's happy, but I was like, you can't kind of go home and relax, and he's like, I just need to get in the market. I was like, I get that, but no thanks.
And so you moved to Nowra and then you purchased your first property down there. Did you go in married quarter first and then buy? Or
so we were in married quarter, and that was kind of during Levi's med discharge. And then when he got his payout and DVA and all that kind of stuff, that's when we were like, right, we've got to do something smart about this. And hats off to him. I was always the money person in our relationship.
Yeah.
And then when this all happened, and he was pretty off tap because of his medication and stuff, right? And having surgeries, and it was awful. But he really took over doing all the finance, and so he really took charge of that. And I think it was good for him, right? Because it gave him purpose.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of shit that goes into it. And I had no idea. I'd just be signing papers when I get home. So he did amazing. So yeah, I think we actually didn't look for too long. When we went into this house, the one that we bought, we did the open home and just fell in love instantly. And then, lucky enough I think we bought for $645.
Yeah, okay. And what year was this?
2020. So right before,
Yeah.
I mean, the boom was happening, I guess, because Nowra's a shithole. Yeah. But we always laugh because we were in South Nowra, so it was kind of the nicer area. There was Warrigal here and then South Nowra, and then we were nice.
Yeah, cool. Did you use HPAS, DOHAS, what?
HPAS, we didn't do DOHAS because I think we were going through ING at the time, and their rates were just, we couldn't compare, and so DOHAS wasn't really going to do anything for us. So we didn't go through DOHAS, which you have to go through one of the NAB or one of the other banks. So ING was better, so we went with them. HPAS, yes. I want to say we got about 23K of HPAS. I can't actually remember after.
I think currently it's at about just shy of 17. And
okay, because then after tax, right?
Tax, and you end up with 10 or 11
Okay,
or so.
that would make sense, yeah.
But I think only one of you would have got it.
Only one,
yeah,
yes. Yeah.
And you would have got, did you get a post-settlement, afterwards? You didn't use it as part of your deposit?
No, because we had the DVA payout.
Yeah. And then it comes through after settlement.
Yeah. And so it was all under my name because Levi was, had he medically discharged yet? I think he did because he discharged at the end of 2020. So
who did you both know about it? Being you were both like obviously Levi medically separated, but done his 20 years and stuff. And you were, how many years were you at this point?
Would have been 15.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you both know about HPAS?
I don't think I did at all.
Yep. Which is not uncommon. Just
Levi knew about it, but even then, I don't even think it was because we do these like monthly mandatory training, like your meetings, and so you get your updates on things going on in the Navy or like whatever. It's like it probably at times got brought up, but not enough that you would be retained. And again, because I was younger, maybe even like, when I first joined, you weren't looking at buying a property, so you just really didn't take notice. Whereas I feel like now
it doesn't sink in, even though you went to the Martin lectures and stuff and that. You're not thinking about it.
You're not thinking about it. No, whereas I feel like now it's in like the Navy and Army, newspapers, and it's online, and so it's much more spoken about now. Even for us at work at ADF Careers, we had one of our Army sergeants end of last year do a little monthly meeting, and was talking to everyone about HPAS and HEPSI and stuff, which was really good. But sorry, no, going back to it. So we, like your riders, like your clerks. Yeah. So they were helping us do all that paperwork for it because obviously it goes back and forth between solicitors and all that kind of stuff.
And what was the admin process like for the HPAS application?
HPAS wasn't too bad. It's just a web form.
Yeah.
Web form, couple of signatures, goes through to the clerks, like the riders, and then on chain of command, goes up the chain. HEPSI, on the other hand, was the back and forth, took months.
Yeah, okay. And that was one you will come to it, but sold Nowra and brought.
Correct. Yeah.
So we used HPAS, our own deposit, purchased in Nowra. And how long were you there for?
We were there for. Well, you tell me. We bought a few.
No. How long were you in Nowra?
Oh, in the Bought house.
Yeah, like how long
only
were you
like
supposed
2
to
years.
live there? Okay.
So when we were first down there, we were in the rental assistance or like the thing. Maybe for a year. No, so probably 3 years in the Bought house.
Yeah, okay, cool.
We wanted to pick it up and move it up here.
Yeah, I remember you
Loved
telling
it.
us.
Yeah.
And so brought in the 600s, and then the posting order. So at this point, you've been probably 18 years roughly when you're moving to Queensland.
Yeah.
And then posting order, however that come about. Yeah. Rabina recruiting.
Yeah.
Cool. How was that, by the way?
Not good.
No?
It was a very awful time.
Yeah.
So I was an instructor at the college at HPAS Creswell. We always knew we were going to come to Queensland, but we kind of pushed it a bit sooner because of
it's
COVID.
God's country.
Well, Sunshine State. Kind of COVID had happened. My mum had passed. Family fallout, stuff like that. So we just wanted to get out a bit
So probably
quicker.
the end is coming, like the end of the career is in the back of the mind.
Yes,
It was
correct.
strategizing. Yeah.
And at the time, I had been told I was going to Brisbane DFR. So we were like, okay.
DFR being recruiting?
Sorry, recruiting.
Yep.
But the Brisbane Centre. And so at the time, we're like, okay, we're gonna move to Brisbane. And that was actually always our plan, was to go to Brisbane, not the Gold Coast, which is kind of weird. One of Levi's best friends is up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then that fell through. And then I had an interview for a job at HPAS Moreton in Balimba. So again, Brisbane. But
is that like a reserve
No,
unit?
it's a reserve unit. Yeah, very, very small. But this was going to be a full-time role.
Looking after the,
Yeah. So I was like, great. Well, it's in Brisbane, but we were then going, well, let's move to North Gold Coast because then we can commute.
Yeah.
Then that job fell through.
Yeah.
So then I was like, fuck you, discharges in. Like I did the whole, and I like annihilated Navy in my discharge paper. The CO signed it because she was devastated too at all these jobs. It's just unheard of that in the Navy after 20 years as a chief, these jobs are just, like we had, I think at this point when the Balimba job came out, because it was all in an email, like you've got this is from the CEO of Moreton, you've got this job, when can you start? I was going to go up there and start early while Levi was selling the house on his own with the kids.
Yeah.
So we'd already got a real estate agent, we were looking at schools, everything was in place, and then this job fell through. Had enough, put the discharge in.
Fair call.
And then about 2 months before we were moving, they offered me the DFR at Rabina.
Yeah.
Now I was jaded. I'm like, I'm fucking going. And Levi's like, HEPSI. Just do 2-year posting, get the money, get the free removal. Like we were already going to coming up here anyway.
Yeah.
So look, it all worked out.
Yeah.
But it was just a bit of a shit fight, and I think that's where you and Nadia were so fucking helpful in this situation. Like it took off so much stress, and it was so easy.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So we've got our posting order. We're going to Robina.
Yeah.
Talk us through just the family decision to sell Nowra versus keep it. What was the thought process?
We're back and forth, I think, for a while. I can't
yeah.
remember if we were talking to you or Nari about it, but we at one point, because we couldn't sell the house. I think it took about 11 weeks, which at that time, other houses were selling quite quickly because it was towards the end of the year. And we didn't love our real estate agent in hindsight looking back. But and because he didn't advertise a price. We didn't really he was one of those speak to the agent, anyway, so that it was taking a lot longer. So we ummed and ahed about keeping it, renting it out, what would it be worth? But then knowing that I was coming up here and only doing a 2-year posting and I knew I was going to be getting out, finances, we kind of weren't really sure.
Yeah.
And then we had to up our budget a little bit more for the Gold Coast than what we had thought.
Yeah.
So
and to give context to the audience base and people listening, when a family or a person, individual, whatever, is buying and selling in one essential transaction, like they're selling in one locality or suburb and buying in another one, you're forced into making a very tactical decision. Do you sell your property first and you have surety of price, but you don't have surety of what you're buying, where and how much, and how long that's going to take to buy, and especially if it's a competitive market, which it was at the time in Queensland. Or you can essentially buy first, which means you know where you're going, you know where the kids are going to go to school, you know the price that you're going to pay, but you don't know what you're going to get. And there's an inherent set of pros and cons to both, and it's very much a personalised decision. But you were from memory, and then you can kind of you still have to do one or the other first, but you can massage it where you do them both in the transaction.
Yes.
However, you massage in settlement periods and dates to try and...
Which is what we ended up doing, but we had the sunset clause on for a while, and it was just...
So we'll go through it we've made a decision, we're going to sell Nowra for whatever, and you brought it low sixes, 620.
645,
Yep. And what was the final sale price?
920.
Yeah, cool.
So we'd added a pool, which I think was about 50K.
Yeah.
Added solar. But
the market has done a bit of lifting in price
for sure.
for it.
Yeah.
And then we're buying up, and the final buy price in Queensland, you were aiming for around 1.1 or something.
We were hoping 1, but it was 1. We ended up going to 1.2.
1.2, yeah. But before you brought the place that you were in, there was another one.
Yes.
So Nowra's on the market for sale. The agent's doing his thing, probably not great.
Kane and Nadia are doing their great thing.
And then Kane and Nadia were looking in Queensland for you. I think Levi flew up here.
We must have been I think I was a fucking pest. Your fault for creating a WhatsApp group chat, but we were Saturdays, go and check this house out and do this. And Nadia was so good with her video. She'd be getting down to the floor and getting these videos of the tiles and she'd be touching the walls for me. And God, it was so good.
That's why Nadia does videos.
She's the
Kane.
best. I know, it was so good.
But we found somewhere and we went under contract on this property. And price was done, building and pest was done, everything. It was just...
Isn't that wild? Oh, God.
Subject to the sale of Nowra,
Correct.
obviously to release that loan and that property and then roll it over into the new one for anyone that's listening that doesn't understand. And then you essentially settle. But what happens when you're subject to sale, basically if your property doesn't sell, you're relieved of any contractual commitment to that property and you can essentially walk away because you haven't got... you're not in a position to settle if you don't sell. But then when negotiating and you have your subject to sale clause, the vendor will often counter that clause with the sunset clause essentially, which means if they receive another offer and they deem it better, so that can be price or conditions or for whatever reason they deem that. So it can be a lower price and better conditions, settlement terms. No finance, no building and pests, but 20 grand lower. They're like, sweet, it's a done deal with this one. They then give you and this can all be negotiated, but generally they'll give you 48 hours to go unconditional on that purchase or you lose it to the new offer, which ended up happening. Yeah. Just talk us through that thought process as a family.
Oh my God, it was so stressful.
Yeah.
But, it all worked out in the end, right? But again, I think Levi was doing a lot of this because I was working, posting and whatever. But yeah, it fell through. What was that? Was that going for 1.1? I can't remember now.
Oh, I think it was high ones, but not quite 1.1.
Yeah.
A mil 65 or something comes to mind.
That, yeah. And then, God, I just remember the stress because we'd already got the kids enrolled into school.
Yes.
Remember? It was, we were coming up. We had,
and it was a good school.
Which they're still at now, so it was great.
So maybe it served its purpose.
Yeah, because Levi's right, because Levi had flown up, not to see that house. So I think you took him around just to see houses and stuff, right?
Areas,
which I'm, again, so thankful for because our house now is way fucking better and we have great neighbours and good kids and whatnot.
And a good school.
And a great school, So, I mean, it all worked out. But, super stressful couple of days. Again, but having you and Nadia, it made it so much easier.
Yeah,
especially while we're interstate.
A lot of conversations navigating that process.
Yeah.
And
then they ended up then contacting us months later.
Which I was just, So it fell over. The agent basically calls me, says, Kane, we've got another offer. You need to either satisfy and go fully unconditional or you're going to lose the property.
And we couldn't,
And obviously me and Levi, exhaust every option there is to somehow, how can we make this work? Do we then change the strategy and retain Nowra as an investment? I think even that got thrown into the mix.
So many conversations every day,
And it is what it is, and we had to let it go. You know, they've gone with their other offer. I think it was marginally lower in price, but they were pretty clean on terms and conditions and ready to settle within 30 days.
Quickly,
and the vendor obviously just didn't want to wait for you guys to sell Nowra.
Look, and I get that too. Like that's frustrating.
Everyone has their motives and their reasons for selling and stuff, but it was fucking frustrating.
So frustrating. And I think too, having like our agent in Nowra, who was just like, it ended up being a neighbour 3 doors down that was talking to Levi. He said, it's my sister in Canberra that wants to buy your house. Hasn't your agent, like she'd made an offer. I think it was a bit of a lowball offer, but the agent hadn't even told us. And we'd always said to him, no matter what offer you get, can you let us know? Because like we would have taken fucking
And that's
900.
where terms and conditions matter on a contract. Not everyone's motive is price. Because for you had so much riding on that move that the difference of 10 or 20 grand probably made fuck all difference.
And we just couldn't understand that houses around us were going within 3 weeks and ours was, and every fucking Saturday we'd display home in the house. You know what I mean? Like far out. So I feel ended up being Levi that was talking to him and would be calling the chick in Canberra that was buying it. She's like, we're going to buy it, but we've got some sort, blah, blah, blah. So, but we were so mad at our agent. I thought, you fucking. So, hot tip for everyone out there, get a good fucking agent.
Yeah. And but then the search kicked off again. So Nadia's out there doing her videos and hunting down stock and looking at different options. I think there was a few on markets, off markets throughout the journey. And then we found the current home, purchased, it all went through.
I think Levi came and saw that house too, didn't he?
Yes. I think he did actually,
he called me when he was in the kitchen. He's like, look at this bench.
I think that was in the conditional phase. It had gone under contract.
Yeah, that's right.
And we went over the tape measure and measured a heap of things.
Yeah.
And then like this house is so much nicer, I feel, and the neighbours are amazing, I hear.
Those fucking durries. Yeah, so good.
So it's in the same street as us, as the Juries, and a few others that are quite friendly and nice little neighbours, as in the TV show Neighbours.
I know. I remember you and Nadia saying this one's just way better anyway. Yeah. Because I think the other one, the pool was off. Like it was in a weird position.
It was around the side of the house, remember? Yeah, there was
having kids that were
outdoor living.
What was thinking when we moved down 4 or 5 or something. Yeah. So being able to have it where in our now house and to be able to see them is a game changer as well.
Yeah. And just as I can't remember if we were unconditional on the new house or conditional where the actual purchase was, but the agent called me and said, "Hey, Kane," been super friendly after some probably not so friendly conversations. How's your buyers looking? And we basically the agent was calling because the offer that they went with and crashed our purchase had not got their finance or fallen over some reason.
Oh no! Didn't they buy a car and it fucked their
or
something like that?
So they lost their finance because they brought a car or something
so
through
silly.
And they couldn't proceed and obviously they say all things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
That contract was possibly just there, or that property was possibly just there to help you get the kids in a good school.
Right, yeah.
Because the catchment area is different to where you end up buying, but house and suburb is probably better and happier.
Better, for sure.
So it
definitely all worked out, but I thought that was funny that a few months after, I think we'd already moved in and they were calling.
I guess the rest is history and home sweet home.
Yep.
But HPAS, so we used HPAS during that transaction, which is probably the most commonly unknown
100%.
Entitlement out there.
And like there's a lot of fine print with HPAS. You can't be You can't have your discharge in. You have to be in service for 12 months of like stuff like that. Yeah. You have to have all the paperwork done. I think it was within a year or two maybe of the purchase. And because once we'd moved in and life's just busy, right, it took us a little while to even start the paperwork. Again, it was all under my name because I was in service. Fill it all out, you send it to your clerk up the chain of command, right? And again at DFR, because we're not at a unit, there's no basis, we don't have our clerks there, everything is a lot slower. And it's got to go to DDRD, who's old mate's busy and flying around the country. So by the time
he can't see you, so he doesn't know you, so you just easily...
I'm not signing this off. Yeah. I also had no idea how much money it was because it's stamp duty, solicitor's fees, building pest and whatever. So I think we got close to 90K back, which was our America trip last year.
Yeah. Right. So for context, I guess not many people know about HPAS, probably because not many people use it.
Yeah.
But what it is, like if you are a dirty civilian and you grow up in Sydney, you go to university in Sydney, you get a job in Sydney, you buy a house, and then you have kids and you pay that house off over 30 years.
Yeah.
HPAS is kind of there to resemble that lifestyle that you don't otherwise get when you live in defence and you post around every 2 or 3 years. So it's designed to cover the entry and exit costs as you buy, sell through your posting cycle.
Which I guess is probably just doesn't get used because a lot of people don't do that.
That's right.
Either, right?
But you're heavily disadvantaged by the lifestyle that you live of moving.
Yes.
All those costs add up, especially if it's over 5 or 6 transactions if you go through that cycle. So HPAS is designed to remove those expenses and allow you to not be disadvantaged by that lifestyle, I guess. But like Meaghan just says, not many people actually do it because it's quite, $1 million you're in Sydney, median house price is, 1.7 million or whatever it is. Or you're in Wagga Wagga or Cairns, the median house price might be 400, 500, 600.
Yeah.
So not many people go through that cycle, but occasionally, it's there. And if it aligns with your posting cycle and lifestyle.
It's definitely not spoken about HPAS.
90
HPAS,
grand.
Again, getting more so in the recent years, but
HPAS and DIAS, because they can, every time you buy a property and live in it, there's the option of, do I use it now?
Yes, which we do use DIAS now that we're up here with a different bank. Yeah, so that was a lot of, again, it's a web form, ticking boxes. It goes back and forth. Ours came back and forth a lot with the solicitors because I think
the HPAS application come back?
Yes.
And what is the solicitor?
So goes to the clerks and she'd already come back to me and said, no, you need one extra receipt because they ask for, of course they need copies of everything because they're giving you back so much money. So it went back and forth. Solicitors came back and said, no, this wasn't good enough. Or one of the things wasn't dated correct or because it was digital or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm at work calling Levi and I'm like, get on the fucking computer, find this bloody form. So that took a couple of weeks kind of, and this was right before America. And I'm going, we're banking on this 70K. Like for America, so we were stressing out a little bit. Yeah, and then I think Levi had to call our mortgage broker, our old mortgage broker back, who was lovely. She's always fantastic. And can you resend me this paperwork and whatever? So that was fine. So it had just gone back and forth a lot. They weren't happy with the building in pest. So we had to contact them again and get a new copy and stuff like that. So, because of course solicitors are, nothing's simple. So we ended up getting, I think 20K here, and then this lot came through and
paid back.
So paid back.
Ticked it off.
But I think all up it was about 90. So that was fantastic.
Yeah. Which is essentially all your stamp duty,
solicitor's
on
fees,
the purchase, solicitor fee on the sale and the purchase.
I think agents,
agent
photography
fees
and stuff. Yeah.
Photography.
Building pests.
Which is essentially all your transactional costs, which is huge.
It's huge.
So depending on the frequency of use, I always say when I sit down with defence people, rent assistance is often the valued because it's forever and ongoing. And it's,
exactly.
If it's $400, that's a week, that's 20 grand a year, which is a lot more.
Well, I think the ceiling's gone up in Sydney again now, so it's huge.
And that's a lot more than DIAS Tier 3. You know? So rent assistance, DIAS, and then HPAS, and then HPAS sort of sits to the side because it's so uncommon that people live that cycle, I guess. But if it was utilised, it's probably the highest monetary value.
Well, and just good to ask the question. If you weren't sure if you could get it or you're entitled to or what you need, go and speak to your clerks and your chain of command. Because
and would you say there's a stigma amongst just it's too fucking hard. I'll just buy it and sell anyway.
Because it's a lot.
Don't. Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know. I mean, Levi was at home and he's studying anyway, so he had the time to do it. But if I was to do it, I'd be like, fuck that.
Yeah, it's too hard, Oscar. I'll just
But they're 90 to
it.
get, anywhere, but whatever you're going to get back, people get different amounts. But for us to get that much money back, huge game changer.
So it's worth putting the effort
Absolutely,
and time into read and learn, like put the beer down for an hour on Friday afternoon.
Yeah,
and
just do the
read up a little
paperwork.
bit. Yeah. Sweet. And then, so we're in, HPAS is done. You went to America, had the tour of a lifetime with the family.
Yep. And now I've got no money.
Or job.
I fucking big mortgage and no job. Shit.
So we're just talking through where like the discharge and the thought process and what the plan is.
Yeah. So again, we always knew that this was going to be the 2-year posting. I probably could have put paperwork in to extend for another year, but I said to Levi, I've done 20 years, it would be 21 in April, so I'm 2 months short. But that was always the plan, right? I feel like if I had extended another year, will I push myself in that I'll be jaded or I'll, you know what I mean? Like Navy's very used to having 2-year postings and that works because that's enough.
Yeah.
So discharge went in straight after America. You only have to give 3 months notice. I gave 6. Workplace super supportive. I'm not leaving on any bad terms.
Yeah.
I've had a bloody great career.
Yeah.
We always knew this was going to be the case. We're not moving. Our kids are settled. We love where we are. So we'll be transferring to reserve. So I will still be doing 2 days a week at the end of Feb.
Yep.
Back down at DFR.
Yep.
Nice and chilled, 2 days, it's tax-free. So that's obviously great. And then we are going to try our hand in a business.
Yeah,
small
cool.
business.
And that's sort of Levi's photography business?
Levi's photography, yep. So I'll do admin side. So I'm about to do a Cert 4 in small business and entrepreneurship, which again, defence pays for because they give you about $5,000 when you discharge to help with study, which is what Levi did with the photography when he left. So he's the creative guy. He'll do his drones, parts license and that kind of stuff. So
what sort of niche is he looking at playing in with the business?
His niche is very landscape, ocean, waterfalls, that kind of stuff. We've had a couple of conversations recently. I think because everyone on the Gold Coast does that right and loves it. So I think he might have to do something like either real estate photography or kind of connect with a school and do some sports photography or something like that which he loves doing, by the way.
What about defence-related events and stuff? Is there something
I
there
don't know. Again, something I can look out for work. I work a lot of events. So, we've just got to be open to everything, I guess. We just spoke to an accountant last week. Remember Bemo? Wayne Bemo at MSF? Yep. So we spoke to him end of last year because, again, part of the discharge, you get financial advice and sort of money for financial advice. So we hit up Wayne and his new financial advisor. I can't remember his name, isn't that bad. Had a meeting with them. They were fantastic and they put us onto this other guy. His wife is an accountant. So she does a lot of defence as well. So we just spoke to her last week and just wanted to get the warm and fuzzies that we're on the right path with how to set things up and whatnot. So we'll go ahead with her. And luckily for us, our friend that builds websites, so he'll help us build that.
And he's ex-defence as well,
ex-defence, yeah. So we're lucky that we've got a lot of people that have done small business before. I know you and Nadia are super keen to help us out or at least answer any of our questions. And so having that is networking, right? And that's I think defence is so good at that.
It's a good way to keep you connected. I find that our business keeps me connected to sort of that defence lifestyle, I guess. I go down to Coffs Harbour soon for the Army Rugby League side because we sponsor them. That's always a lot of
if
fun.
you need a chauffeur, I'm not working.
Well, there could be a photographer opportunity there.
Well, there you go.
I can hit him up.
Yeah, so it'll be financially, it's going to be a mad struggle this year. And the thing is, we've never had to worry about finances ever. When we've been together for 15 years, we've both had good incomes or seagoing and DVA payout and whatever. Whereas now we're kind of like, the savings is, you know. Again, we did America last year, which we knew that's what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
We've got our caravan that we own and love, and so we'll test and adjust.
Cool. And for the audience, I hear there's another podcast on the horizon. Is that ready for a mention and a shout out?
So I think when Jade gets back, we're going to start. So we're going to get Levi to help do obviously our photo shoot. We might just do a couple of like reels and stuff as teasers.
Launching reels.
We're not. I don't want to mention one name. I mean, we don't know what the name's going to be.
You don't have to give a name. Give us a theme maybe or target audience.
Something like Sunday sip and spill or something like that.
Okay,
So
as long as it's not a defence property podcast, I'm happy to
absolutely
support.
not. So we're going to do it in Jade's living room. So yeah, we'll get Levi to set up for a few of his cameras and stuff and do some editing for us. Just give it a go and have fun, right? We're mums that are, we're not going to talk about our jobs and whatnot, but obviously Jade's studying and she works and we've got kids and they're crazy. I've got the crazy street and I just think it was Nadia that put this in our head, last year.
Okay.
She was like, a lot of people loved listening to drunk mums. We were like, you. So we're going to just, talk shit half an hour and then we'll try like a local beverage.
Yep.
And then tell the audience about the beverage and then hopefully they just send us some free shit.
Yeah, nice. Very good.
Watch this space.
Yeah, watch it. We'll do
Only fence for feet's my backup.
Well, we'll do a shout out for your podcast at least.
Yay.
When it's ready
Watch
to go.
this space, yep.
So a stellar career in defence, used a few entitlements and made some property moves throughout the years. Give us, a couple of tips for just the younger soldier, sailor, airman from a, defence career as well, getting through those, when you're having those moments of there's some discharging or, some tips on using our entitlements and not saying or putting it in the too hard basket.
Yeah. I think start saving and try and do travel, that's my thing, right? But I think if you can try and invest and buy property at a younger age, again, look at the world right now, it's a bit crazy, but ask the questions. Grass isn't greener on the other side. And I know that because I discharged at 9 years and then got back in. But speak to your chain of command, speak to your clerks, research online, speak to other third parties or friends or whatever.
People
there's so
have done
much,
what you're looking to do.
right? And there's so much online now. It's in Facebook and stuff. So just ask the questions because there's so much support out there and so many other avenues that you're not aware of.
Yeah.
Network.
They say your network is your net worth.
Yep.
Was one I've heard in business at least.
Absolutely.
And what does the future look like for Meaghan and Levi property-wise? Any investments on the horizon?
Look, I'm hoping, you can always hope for a DVA payout, right? If I get a certain amount or, we'll see where that goes. But we would like to invest with that. Otherwise, travel.
Awesome. Well, it's been I don't know how long that's been, but I feel like it's been about an hour episode and stuff.
Like I wasn't drunk.
I think if anyone wants to reach out to Meaghan and have a chat, just hit us up at Discover Buyers Agency and we're happy to connect.
Yep.
Thanks for your service. Thanks for your hour on the Defence Property Podcast.
Thanks for having me. I kept it PG. You're welcome.
And if anyone's looking for a defence-related photographer, any event Australia-wide, please reach out to me. I'd love to connect you to Levi and Meaghan as their business grows and evolves. And if you're looking for a couple of drunk women on a podcast and stuff, there may be something on the horizon there too. But watch this space for that one. But photography is definitely ready to go. Yeah. I know Levi very well. He's a good friend and
he's
I've
very
seen his
anal
work.
with his photos and his editing.
The
He's very
quality
good.
is amazing and stuff of what he does. So yeah, definitely reach out.
Thanks, Kane.
Meaghan, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. And that's it for today.
Nice.